I hope you all are able to see my screen. Let's just confirm. Uh,
We can.
yeah,
Yes, we
thanks
can.
for
Yes.
confirming. Yeah, thank you for confirming. This is my Snowflake course content. I have designed in such a way like to cover all the topics in Snowflake. And this training module is not only for developer. It is like whoever knew Snowflake, they should handle development activities. They should handle production support activities. They should handle DBA activities. So this training module is a blend of three things. So ideally in other databases, a DBA person will be separate person, a support engineer will be separate person, and a developer will be separate person. But Snowflake is very user friendly. A normal person who learns completely Snowflake, they can handle every activity. It's very simple to handle the other, like a not only developer role, to handle the DBA role or production support engineer role also. It's very user friendly. So this training module will consist all the related topics. So first of all, when I will start with SQL basics. So SQL basics, like data warehousing concepts. First of all, what is a data warehouse? What is a database? What is a table? What is the storage? Everything we will explain, and difference between OLTP and OLAP, like analytical data warehouse and transactional data warehouse with the example. And the commands, the whatever basic to design a data warehouse or to design a database, what are the commands we do require? DDL, DML, DCL, DQL. These are the commands we do require. So I will explain you with the examples in detail how it works. And next major thing is like SQL join concepts. So wherever, like not only Snowflake, if you understand this join concepts alone, then you can handle any database very easily. So the major, like a whole point of SQL is this joins only. We need to join multiple tables and get the data. So that understanding needs to be available on the join concept. In the interview also, like when you are completely they are completely satisfied with your answers on theory, they will ask questions on the join concepts. So I will explain in detail about these join concepts through with the practical things also. And here I will explain clauses. What are the clauses available in SQL? Select clause, from clause, where clause, and clause, all this we will explain. And also the joins concept: inner join, outer join, self join. And again, outer join is segregated to left, right, full outer join. So we'll see all the things. And again, SQL functions. So these SQL functions, see, it's again like we do have lots of functions in SQL, but I cannot explain you in one or two classes all the functions. But majorly on a daily basis, if you are entering into a real time project, what are the functions we will use on a daily basis, I will explain. And in our regular classes anyway, we will be keep on using the functions. We'll see there practically how it works. So this is the major, like around 4 to 5 classes we will explain this SQL concepts. And coming to the main Snowflake content, it's a introduction and history. So how the Snowflake evolution has been done, from where we have started, like what is the data warehouse, from which point, starting point, and now where we are, why we are using Snowflake, because all the features, whatever an ideal data warehouse should have, the Snowflake is having. So that's the reason we are into Snowflake. So this is just introduction and history, completely theory class. And self registration. So in the first class itself, I will help you out doing the self registration before entering into the SQL classes, because we need to practice the SQL classes through Snowflake itself. So I'll just explain this concept in the first class itself, self registration. And Snowflake UI. So Snowflake UI has been segregated into multiple flavors. Like we do have a classic console, we do have a snow site, snow SQL, IDEs are there, many things are there. We will just like ideally I will explain through classic console. But recent times we got information from Snowflake saying classic console will be going to be decommissioned. So that's the reason all people are moving to snow site. So all this training module also I'll explain in the snow site. And few topics which are not available in the snow site, available only in the classic console, I'll explain those concepts in the classic console. So both majorly we'll see both the concepts, classic console and snow site every time. And coming to the Snowflake architecture, like what is the Snowflake architecture? Main difference between the shared nothing and shared disk architectures, and what are the layers of Snowflake? Please go on mute, everyone. Sorry. Yeah. So architecture, like how many layers of Snowflake architecture are there, and what is the difference between database storage layer, compute layer, cloud services layer? What each layer will do, everything we'll see in a Snowflake architecture class. And virtual warehouse. So to perform any DML operations or DQL operations or DCL operations, must and should we do require a virtual warehouse. So virtual warehouse is nothing but providing some compute resources to perform their operations. So we'll see in detail how to create a warehouse, what are the policies available, what are the modes available, what is QoS factor, everything we'll see in detail while creating a warehouse. And SQL basics, yes. And file, the next topic is containers, like how the Snowflake hierarchy is divided, like what is the first place, the granularity of the objects. So it will start with a database, schema, tables. Under a schema, we'll create a rest of the objects, tables, views, stages, file formats, pipes, sequences, stars, everything will be created under schema. So we'll see how to create these objects, and what is the hierarchy completely available, and on a table what type of constraints are there, how many types of tables are there, what each constraint will do, we'll see in this containers, database, schema, and table session. And file loading, so as I mentioned, Snowflake also acts as an, I mean, just it will help us to play an ETL role also. We can upload the data through our classic console. So here again, we do have multiple data structures, like structured data, semi structured data, unstructured data. So structured data is in the sense like whatever in the readable format, whatever the data is in the form of rows and columns, we will call it as a structured data. Semi structured data, so we do have a JSON files, XML files, paraquet files, ORC files, like this. So I will explain JSON file and paraquet file, how to load the data and how to process the data from semi structured data to structured data. How can we change that also, we'll see in this file loading through UI. And micro partitions, so major concept, like this is the pillar of the Snowflake. We need to understand this concept very properly. Micro partitions, it's purely theory and we cannot see anything, like these micro partitions in Snowflake, okay, these many are there, how this it has been segregated like this, we cannot see anything, everything is a vision only. We need to understand this concept. Based on this concept, we need to, I mean, if we understand this concept, it will be very easy for you. Time travel, zero copy cloning, caching, clustering, all these concepts are related to the micro partitions. So the interview questions will also, the more scenario questions will be there on the micro partitions concept. And data cloning, so taking the backup, that too with a zero cost, no cost at all while taking the backup. But if we consider the existing traditional data warehouses or databases, we need to pay for the backup also, but here we don't have that. So we will see how to create a zero from here, like data cloning onwards, all theory plus practical sessions. So how to create a zero copy cloning, what are the storage parameters are available, and when it starts cast, how data will be stored, how micro partitions will be stored under a zero copy clone table. So everything we will see in the data cloning. And time travel feature, so this is one of the unique feature which is available in Snowflake, which is not at all available in any other data warehouses or databases. Because we can sit, like we can see what is the data in my previous days, like if we just understand time travel in the sense like we can go back or go future to the particular time and see what is the information or what is the activities. Best example is that if we I mean, all are from Telugu state, then we can understand Aditya 369. So we can travel back to Sri Krishna Devaraya period and see what's happening on that day. The same concept, but here like we cannot go that many years, but only 90 days we have the concept. We can go back to 90 days and see what is the data on my table. So that concept we do have in time travel. So ideally there is no cost, storage cost is not there, but time travel cost will be occurring on this time travel feature. And views. So again, view is a kind of a virtual table where we do have multiple types of views: materialized, non-materialized, secure views. We do have. We will see each view, how to create each view, and what are the unique features available, like features in the sense why we do have these many views, what achievement will we do with the materialized view, what achievement we will do with the secure view. All these concepts we will see in the views. And role hierarchy, as I mentioned, like a snowflake, whoever learns the snowflake, those people needs to handle the dba activities also. So this concept, role hierarchy concept, so creating the users, whoever comes into your organization newly, so we need to create a user account, right? So how to create a user, how to create a role, how to assign a role, what are the object privileges are available. So we will see each and everything in detail in the snowflake role hierarchy concept. And data share, so data share in the sense, suppose if you are I mean, if you are selling your data to a third party person, so ideally, like in a previous days, like other data warehouses, how they will do, they'll just download the data and give the data over an email or over SFTP path. If it is a secure data or the confidential data, we will see give like this. But in snowflake, not to use, because again, even we are sharing through SFTP or confidential data, very personal data, there may be hacking happens. So for that reason, this snowflake has been designed a reader account. Whoever not having snowflake account will just create a reader accounts, read only access, and we'll share our data, primary data, to that vendor, whoever wants to access the data very securely. So that concept we'll see theoretically how it works, and practically how we can share the data to the external vendor. If the vendor doesn't have snowflake account, we'll create reader accounts and share the data. And again, as I mentioned, Snowflake is having multiple flavors of UIs. So Classic Console and Snowsite is the browser UI. And we do have a other UI called uh, Snowflake SnowSQL, where it will be completely black screen. So if you people have experience in a Unix and Linux backgrounds, so you'll see how the Unix and Linux background screen. So it will be completely black screen. So to navigate from one place to another place, you need to write some command. So cd, file path, everything with the commands. So if the people who are having that background, if they feel like browser activities, like I cannot immediately come to the browser, then Snowflake has designed a black screen UI also. So they can write queries, they can put commands, everything in the SnowSQL installation. But whatever you are doing operations through UI, through SnowSQL also we can do. So SnowSQL, additionally to like putting the file, getting the file, can be done only through SnowSQL. Through browsers we cannot do, browser UIs we cannot do. So that's the reason this stages concept is there in Snowflake. So the stages concept we will explain through SnowSQL. And this is not like a complete installation. It's just one executable file needs to be installed and configured in one particular place. And if we need to do all these activities in our command prompt only. So this is about SnowSQL installation, how to do installation, how to configure like SnowSQL SQL executable file, and how to automate that file every time for connecting. How to automate that we will see. And bulk load and batch load, so the stages concept. So we do have like internal stages and external stages. So internal stages are the ones which are created in Snowflake itself. I mean, external also will be created in Snowflake only, but internal stages we will get the data from our local to Snowflake area. But external means from the cloud, any cloud. Again, we do have Azure, GCP, Microsoft Azure, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, AWS, Amazon Web Services. So from these three clouds, if we are getting the files and data, how to process the data into the Snowflake tables, that we will see in the stages concept. And loading data from Azure. So as I mentioned, like external stages are there. So for that, we need to take the Azure self-registration. Again, we can do with the trial version only for this Azure also. And how can we load the data from the Azure container to Snowflake. So, and one more thing, this training module completely I'm going to explain with the combination of Microsoft Azure only. Only I will explain this cloud alone. And if you know one cloud, there is no problem in your real time projects. If you get like you have to work on the other cloud, it will be very easy, no problem. Just naming conventions will be different. So in Azure we'll say it's a container, in AWS it will be S3 buckets. So the same, more or less it's a similar thing only. So if we know how to handle one cloud, it's very easy to handle the other clouds. And continuous data load, if we are getting the data on a frequencies, like within 1 minute I'm getting 1 lakh files I need to process. So if we do have a bulk load and we need to process very immediately, then we will go to the snow pipe concept. So we can set up the snow pipe and it will do automatically the purpose. And external table and data load, so along with the internal tables we do have external tables also. So in the external table concept, the data load and the table creation will happen at the same time, and the data refresh also can happen automatically. So that we will see what are the external tables and how can we create those, what are the partitions and auto refresh, everything we'll see in the external table concept. And stored procedures, so whatever the queries we do have, multiple queries needs to run, then that in a sequential manner we'll keep that queries in a Snowflake stored procedure object. So this stored procedure again can be written in multiple languages, because whoever having like a flexibility of writing SQL language stored procedure, they can write in SQL. Whoever having flexibility of JavaScript, they can JavaScript, Java, Scala, Python, whoever knew these languages, they can write in that languages. In our training module I will explain how to write a stored procedure with the JavaScript, how to write a stored procedure with SQL, and error handling mechanisms, and how to catch the errors, everything I'll explain in the stored procedure concept. And UDFs, user defined functions, how can we create UDF functions, UDFs, and how many types, scalar, tabular, how to create this scalar tabular with some scenarios, and how to use these functions in the main queries. So that we will see in the UDF concept. And stream objects, to capture the change data, whatever happening on a table, either insert, delete or update, whatever the changes are happening, DML operations happening on a table, this stream object will capture. So this stream will be applicable to multiple things like stages, tables, all. For all these things we'll explain in detail for each table how it will work, how many modes are there, we'll see. For stages, all these things we will see on for a stream object. And task object, so if we just consider this task object alone works for production support engineer, how to schedule your objects into the Snowflake, like for running on a daily basis or on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, or specifically you want to run on 15th of every month, 20th of every month, or 20th of April. So if you want to schedule these kind of things, so this scheduling will be done by the production support people. So that activities will be handled through tasks. So Snowflake is having internal scheduler. So this scheduler will work for us. So if you do want to schedule our jobs in other control M or TOLE workload scheduler, autosys, we can do that. But we do have an internal scheduler. So why will we go to the other third party schedulers? No need to, no need of that. And information schema, so whatever the objects we have discussed, these objects metadata, whatever you create, that will be captured in the information schema data schema. So what happens, like when you create a table, automatically that entry will be available in the information schema dot tables object, so that you can see when it got created, who created it, what are the properties of that table, what are the constraints available on that table, everything you will see in this information schema. So it's nothing but metadata about all the objects which are available in your database. This information schema will be maintained by Snowflake itself. We will not maintain anything. We will just use the information schema views objects, nothing. We cannot create it, or we cannot modify it, we cannot drop it, we cannot do anything. Everything maintained by Snowflake itself. And with the combination of stream and task, so we'll just start like one concept called from source, how the data is loading to the target. And with the concept of stream, incremental load, SCD1 mechanism, how can we schedule that in task? Everything we'll see in this ETL in Snowflake. How can we handle this ETL in Snowflake? And clustering. So clustering concept will be under again the extension of micro partitions. So in the micro partitions, if you want to sort the data, so how it works, what are the costs we will incur, for which type of tables we need to go for a clustering, for what columns we need to do a cluster. So everything we'll see with the concept, both theoretical and practical. And caching and query history. So we do have a temporary storage. This is not much unique feature in Snowflake. We do have this caching concept in other databases also, caching. So we'll see how what type of caches are available in Snowflake, what unique property is available for each cache, where it is located, either it is located in cloud services layer or local, I mean compute layer or storage layer, which layer this type of these caches are available. And query history, so whatever the queries you are running or your peer colleague is running, so how to see, how to filter the queries. So everything will we will see in the query history tab. And monitoring and billing, so if you are acting as a, like if you are a completely one Snowflake developer, you need to act as a production support DB, everything. And you are also need to have an eye on the budget. So this monitoring, so which warehouse has been used to consume more credits, what is the mode storage, where is the mode storage happening, how much data is entered into the fail safe, how much data entered into the time travel. So that type of monitoring and billing activities will be seen in this class. It's just a small topic only. And data replication, so ideally, Snowflake is doing data replication. So data replication in the sense, suppose cloud, we will host our data into the cloud as it is a cloud data warehouse, and due to some any issues, cloud we cannot access the cloud information. Then at that time, if we are not able to access, we cannot see our data also. So for these type of disaster scenarios, what happens, our data can be replicated to the other region clouds also. Suppose if we are in India cloud, then we can replicate our data to Europe, USA, Canada. So these type of three clouds we can replicate without zero cost. So that if your India cloud has fails with some lightning or some disaster happened, if we are not able to access the data, then we can access the data because already it's replicated to the other clouds. We can access the data from other clouds very easily without disturbing our work. So how to do data replication to other clouds, we can see in the data replication concept. And earlier, like Snowflake Snow site, like I will take one separate class, because I used to explain in the classic console. And Snow site one class, how to see all the objects, how to create everything, I'm going to explain. But currently our module itself, we will be working in the Snow site. We don't have this, like I will explain classic console also parallelly how it works. For each topic I will explain. And at the end of the class, after the project explanation, I will show you one demo, like in the project, how you are going, like from SQL transactional database, how you are getting the data through an ETL tool into the Snowflake. So I will use either Talent or Fivetran, any of this. And how the data is loading into the Snowflake, I will explain this concept. And again, the whatever the data you have transformed, finalized data, how you are giving to the reporting team, so how to import the objects in the Power BI, that also I will show you at the end of the classes. So this is about complete Snowflake training module, which is a blend of development, production support, and DBA activities. So this is about course content. Any doubts on this course content?
Hi Lahari, can you please show me that Snowflake, Snow site or Classic Console, and what is the difference in future? Which one we are using?
Yes, we will. I will show you everything, but not in this demo class. We will have in the regular classes. I will explain you. While taking the self registration itself, I'll explain.
Okay, that's fine.
So I
Yeah, good
have
morning, Larry.
Yeah.
and this
Good
is
Hello.
morning.
simple.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, what is our duration for course?
The duration. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Duration is like I can say it's a 40 to 45 working days, whatever the class is. Like if it is possible, we can take over weekends also. But I will not prefer on weekends. Only 5 days per week, 40 to 45 days.
And timing?
Timing will let you know. I mean, as per the flexibility, like all the people's, whoever are flexible, we'll just have this timings. Mostly, like it will not be our working hours. Out of working hours only, we'll just take it up.
Yeah, hi Lahri, Murli here. I have one query. I supposed to
Yes.
connect any on-premises databases. So can we
Mm.
connect any other on-premises database like Oracle, SQL Server, so SAP HANA, Teradata, Big Data like that?
Yes, we can connect, but again, we do require ETL tool. Through Snowflake, we cannot connect.
So where we need to use that ETL tool, that Snowflake will act as a ETL tool or what?
No, no, no. Snowflake will act as Snowflake is purely data warehouse. You have to
Yeah,
use
that
either
that I
talent
understood.
or
That understood. Then how we can connect to that on-premises databases through Snowflake? That's what I am asking.
through Snowflake you cannot connect, Murali. We have to use
Uh,
ETL tool, Talent, Informatica, Python like that, and we will load all the data whatever available in your on premises to Snowflake objects. So we need to use must and should ETL tool.
no, come again. I didn't understand. Uh,
We need to use ETL tool. So ETL tools we do have
Instead
in
of using
market.
ETL tool, Lahari, I
We
have
do
one.
we,
Instead of
we cannot connect. We cannot connect.
no,
instead of
but
using
I
ETL tool,
think
we can also
I
use the
think you
Snowflake.
said Python, right? That so it is a basic knowledge is required for the Python or what action?
See, Python again, whoever having already migrating from Python project, they needs. But most of the times, like we cannot say all our Python projects we are migrating, so no need. It's not required because all this handling will be done by ETL team, not Snowflake team. So once you get the data into Snowflake, how will you process the data? That only your part.
No, that's what I am asking. Then how we can load the data from that any other databases to Snowflake? Once we can store the data into Snowflake, then we can process. That is different thing. So then how we can connect to the databases from? That's what I'm
Murli,
asking.
Murli, I'm saying the same thing. Like through
Hmm.
Snowflake, you cannot connect anything directly, any other on-premises. You have to use the ETL tool and connect to the your on-premises databases, and the data needs to be loaded into the Snowflake. Snowflake directly cannot connect to any on-premises databases.
Can we migrate the
The
databases
using
from on-premises to Snowflake?
Yes, we can do.
Okay. No, see, I know that
Like,
ADF is an ETL tool, might be that SSIS is an ETL tool. So for that
Mhm.
Snowflake, then how we can, so what kind of ETL tool then we can, so what could be the name of? So that's what I am asking.
Sorry, I didn't understood your question.
No, see, there is a different types of ETL tool. It is there. ADF and Azure Data Factory is an also an ETL tool. Okay, SSIS is an ETL tool. Okay, for that
Mhm.
Snowflake, that what exactly we need to use for the ETL tool?
Any
talent, we
ETL
can
tool
use
supports
any
any ETL
tool.
tool with
Otherwise, you can go for talent also. It will useful for you.
yes.
Few components is there directly. You can fetch data from on-prem to Snowflake using ETL
Any
Mm.
tools.
ETL tool supports Snowflake, no problem.
and Lahari,
Yeah.
who all are can get into this course like Snowflake with they need SQL knowledge or what kind of basic needs they need,
Yeah,
and
basic need sorry, go ahead.
how many years of experience they need in this market, like how many years
Okay.
of gap or
Okay. So basically, see, as per like a Snowflake, we do require basics of data warehouse knowledge. See, because you need to analyze the data, so that concepts you need to understand. Normally, through Google also we'll get all the concepts. It's not like kind of technology; it's just theory thing, like whatever you want. And the other thing is SQL concepts. So how can you create an object? How can you alter objects? How can you load the data, update the data, delete the data? And also the main thing is join concepts, so you need to understand the join concepts very properly. Then the remaining Snowflake unique features, anyway we need to learn everything newly with the help of SQL, like a join concept, create statement, alter statement, delete statement, copy statement, like this. So only the SQL knowledge is mandatory. If we don't have cloud knowledge also, no problem. Whatever in this module I'm going to explain, whatever the further snowflake, whatever the cloud knowledge is required, because I cannot teach again complete cloud, any cloud. Whatever the topics required for Snowflake, I can teach you in this training module. So even if you don't know SQL also, no problem, we do have classes, 4 to 5 classes, no problem, here also we can learn. And experience wise, I can say we can keep like 3 to 4 years prior experience you can keep on any database or any tool testing, anything you can keep. But it's better like if you go with the 3 to 4 years of Snowflake experience.
Okay, I'm clear.
Hi Lahari, good morning. This is
Hey, hi
Raghav
sir.
here.
Hey, hi Raghav. Yeah.
Basic SQL knowledge is enough for the Snowflake or
Yes,
advanced level?
no, basic knowledge is enough for us.
Okay, okay. One more thing. Uh, Snowflake admin or Snowflake developer, both are same or both are different
See,
streams?
for the namesake, both are different. Okay, so
Yes,
admin
yes.
again doing this DBA activities, role hierarchy things. So ideally, if we learn the Snowflake technology, we need to handle everything. There is no separate thing.
Okay, okay. Got it. Thank you.
And coming to the scripting part, you said you'll be covering on the JavaScript. So
Both
is it
JavaScript and
mandatory for
SQL.
Java? SQL, is
Uh,
it mandatory to know the Java and Python both, or
no, it's not at all mandatory, but just declaring the variables and calling the variables. Because again, while doing store procedure only, it needs to be with the store procedures and UDF concepts only. So while teaching itself, I can teach you like how to initialize the variable, everything. So no problem, we can manage even if you don't have knowledge also.
No, hi, Lahari. This is Rakesh. So
Hey,
with
hi
that,
Rakesh.
with the curriculum, right? Can we clear the certification? I mean, will it cover any sort of the certification course?
Yeah, I mean 60% I can cover, but 40% additionally you need to keep effort like on the certification part. This course is not mainly designed for certification, so 60% we can achieve.
Okay, this is like more into starting with basics, right?
No. It's not basics. Like purely whoever wants to attend an interview, they can easily attend. I mean, without any third party information, we can easily attend because I'm providing theory and interview questions, practical things like live scenarios. Also, I'll explain. So for the interview purpose, we can clear, not a basic thing, advanced level only. But for certification we need to put some extra effort, like because in the certification you will not get any practical queries, everything needs to be theoretical, so small points they'll pick up. So that's the reason for certification you need to have some extra effort.
And this course will be covering that data platform features, right? Features as well. Features and some
Yes,
data
so
transformation.
yes, everything, yeah. Yeah, any others, sir?
Yeah, Lahari, morning. I have one question. What is this Snowflake developer role actually?
Mm. See, again, like if we come to the database or data warehouse, developer in the sense, whoever gets the data, raw data we will get from the source team. We need to
Correct.
process the data. Suppose just consider one example. I do have employee table and location table. I do have. So if the requester or customer wants to see the each employee location information, then we do have from the source what we are getting, one data set with employee information and other data set with location information. But what we have to do, once this raw data comes to our Snowflake layer, we have to process the data, we have to join the tables, we have to use the transformations, any filter conditions we have to use, and make the finalized data according to the customer. So these data we will provide to the customer, where finalized data with the merge club of different data sets. So this is the concept of developer. So whatever the journey from the raw data to finalized data will do, this part will work by the developer. And database administrator in the sense, whoever, like if you are new, if you are going into the team very newly, and for you a Snowflake account needs to be created, right? So for you a user account will be created, and if you are a developer, they'll assign the responsibilities and roles to the developer related activities. So that kind of work will be done by the DBA people. And whatever already developed and the customer has been finalized, and it needs to be run on a schedule basis on every day or
Right.
every week, then these will be scheduled by the production support people. So these activities will be handled, like monitoring the daily activities, weekly activities, if anything failed, fixing, all this will be handling by the support people. So these are the three different roles in any database. Not only in database, if you consider any front end technologies, back end technologies, also the same thing.
Okay. And so I don't see any backup and recovery scenario here in this curriculum.
Backup on the objects.
Yeah. Or table
uh,
or
yeah, zero copy clone is there, right? That is the backup of the table only.
zero copy clone. Okay.
Yeah. So ideally, like in other databases, we have to pay for the backup also, storage cost. But in Snowflake, we do have, we don't need to pay anything because it's a virtual backup. So that's the reason we are saying as a zero copy clone.
Okay. In earlier conversation, you are referring like a data set. Is that kind of a table or it's a database?
Anything, see, data set, I can consider it's a table or a view, stream, stage, anything will be data set. So
Okay.
I I cannot say it's a table because everything comes under a data set only, right? So I'll just refer that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, hi Lahri. I think we do have other data warehouses like Azure SQL data warehouse, Azure SQL MI. So what is the main difference between the Azure SQL data warehouse and then Snowflake? I think we do have process everything it is there in the Snowflake as well as Azure data warehouse. So what could be the main difference?
Yeah, if you just consider the Azure SQL data warehouse and Snowflake, so there the billing part same. There also pay per second billing. Here also pay per second billing. Whatever the usage you are doing, and the additional features like Snow Pipe and zero copy clone. So there for taking the backup we need to pay, and the flavors also, like whoever new Azure, they have to work in that Azure UI mandatorily. But Snowflake is not like that. Whoever having the backgrounds, previous backgrounds of Unix, Linux, they can use the SnowSQL, and they can do some basic ETL operations also. Like from our local, the file can be uploaded and can be process the data. And the other thing is, like all types of files can be processed in Snowflake. Semi-structured, structured, unstructured files can be processed through Snowflake. So these are the major differences. And assigning the compute resourcing, the elasticity of the compute resources. So you can go for like at max, like if there is a heavy user traffic is there, you can increase your warehouse within fraction of seconds, and you can decrease whenever it is not required. So these all features are major differences between the ADF, I mean Azure SQL data warehouses and Snowflake.
Okay, that performance point of view, I think as you said, I think Snowflake is better than that Azure SQL data
Yes,
warehouse, right?
not only performance, like
Yeah.
the usage of Snowflake also
Yeah,
very
that CPU
flexible, I can
resource.
say.
That yeah, I understood in that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That.
Okay. And if anyone having doubts, any others?
Uh, yeah, Lahari, Srinivas here
Yes.
again. So,
Yeah, sure.
if example, I'll take example on the AWS one because I'm not familiar with the Azure
Mm,
part. So,
mm,
if the data loaded to S3 bucket, so
mm,
again the same data is loading to Snowflake. So,
mm.
how the connection between both is being created?
Yeah, the through the external stages concept. Okay, we will use the S3 buckets information, like where your S3 bucket is holded, and the security, like a token needs to be generated at the AWS level, that needs to be used in the Snowflake external stages. So I can set up a connection between the external stages and your S3 buckets. So whenever you get the files in your buckets, automatically those files will be coming to the Snowflake staging area. So then from using the copy command from the external stage, I will load the data into the target tables. So
So
this is the
the
concept.
so the
Yeah.
configuration whatever you are doing is on the Snowflake side, not on the AWS side, right?
No, no. For external stages, nothing required from the AWS side. But for if it is a continuous data load, we need to use the snow pipe. Okay. So for
Snowpipe.
snow pipe, yeah, for snow pipe, you need to configure at AWS level, cloud level also we need to configure. So we need to create S3 buckets, event notifications, queues, everything needs to be set up at the cloud level. Then half of the things needs to set up at the Snowflake level also to make it as a one pipeline, I can say.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, this is is there any role on tester also for this one?
Testers, see, nowadays, like ETL testing has been vanished. Only the peer colleagues will do testing, like peer testing will be there. So ideally, we need to do user like a basic testing. Nothing much about testing role in Snowflake.
What's the duration?
Sorry.
Duration. Duration.
Duration, it is like 40 to 45 working classes, I can say. Yes.
What are the practical sessions involved? Will you be taking care of that?
Uh, Rakesh, actually, sorry, your voice is very low. Can you just speak out, sir?
Will you be practical sessions? So
You
this
are
is
asking about practical things?
yes, yes.
Yes, like all the concepts except that theory introduction and sorry, architecture of the Snowflake. Everything is a mixture of theory plus practical. Every day we'll see all the concepts. Suppose if we are discussing about internal stage, so we'll just explain what is the theory of that internal stage, and we'll see how to create that internal stage, how it works, how it refresh, how to list the files, how to retrieve the data from the files. Everything we'll see on the same class itself.
Larry, only online classes is available or offline is also available?
Currently, it's online. We'll just confirm you, like if it is required offline classes. Or
So, do you have any tentative timing because you said that it will be the offline business hours?
See, I can say morning between 7 to 9. Okay. In the evening again 8 to 9. Tentative.
So it is yet to confirm, right?
Yet to confirm because we need to check like who are more flexible in the morning or evening. We'll just have this polling and we can decide the time.
Okay.
Yeah, and complete this training module. I explained like this will be I will explain like as in a live project how you will get the task. What is your approach towards in succeeding that task? I'll explain in that manner only. And I do have two different models. One is employee data model, and the other one is orders data model. One pharmaceutical data model. So either of this, like after completion of SQL classes, I'll ask you like which model suits for you. So if complete fresher people are there, so I'll prefer employee model, which can be understood very easily. If we do have some experience and we are able to manage, then I'll go with the orders data model. So the same thing, like we'll complete whatever the objects available in the model. We'll go and complete all the tables, creation of the tables with each unique feature. How can we load the data? How to do SCD1 mechanism? Everything we'll see up to the end.
Okay. Anything on integration with ETL tools? Snowflake integration with ETL tools.
Snowflake integration is the last two classes are there, Rakesh. So which is like if from the on-premises data, I will prefer SQL data warehouse, so, SQL database or transactional database. From there, how can I import the data from the SQL database to the Snowflake? What is the connection mechanism? How to set up everything? I'll explain either through Fivetran or Talent. Only one ETL tool I'll use and explain. So after giving the final data, after doing the development activity, how that reporting team will consume this data also, I'll show you through Power BI.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, any others have? Don't worry. So suppose if we are all from Telugu states, then we can go with the mixture. Like if we are not comfortable completely in English, we can have a mix and match. Like whenever we are get stuck, I will explain in Telugu also. No problem. Will if we are comfortable, no problems. Like we'll complete everything in a English only. Okay. Any others have doubts? Okay. I hope this made you like something clear about Snowflake, and we'll see you in regular classes. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.